Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into decoding the bureaucratic maze of getting your Utah accident report. Look, if you're tuning in, chances are you or someone you know was recently in a crash. And you're probably realizing that dealing with the aftermath, that's a whole separate headache from the accident itself. So we're going to break this all down for you using the hard facts directly from Utah's state statutes and law enforcement procedures. Let's get into it.
We've organized this potentially overwhelming process into 6 clear steps. First, we'll look at why accident reports actually matter. Then we'll cover Utah's specific privacy laws, go through the step-by-step retrieval process, discuss utilizing your report, highlight common mistakes to avoid, and finally, wrap up with some resources and a legal disclaimer.
So imagine this. You've just been in an accident. The dust has finally settled, everyone's physically safe, but now you need that one crucial piece of the puzzle to move forward with your life, deal with your insurance, and get your vehicle repaired. You need your accident report. But how exactly do you get it in Utah? Well, that is the ultimate question for drivers navigating the aftermath of a crash in our state, and today, we've got your answers.
All right, Section 1, why accident reports matter. Let's establish exactly why this document is so essential. First off, according to Utah Code 416A401, if property damage in an accident exceeds $2,500, or if there's any injury or death, you are legally mandated to officially report the collision to law enforcement right away. This specific threshold is basically there to filter out those minor fender benders, while making absolutely sure that serious crashes are thoroughly documented by the state. Once that report is generated, often called a DI-9 form, by the way, it becomes an incredibly detailed artifact. This report serves as the absolute foundation for your insurance and legal claims. We're talking crucial details here, like exact weather conditions, the officer's diagrams, any citations issued, and witness notes. It literally paints the official picture of what happened, long before memories start to get fuzzy. Moving on to Section 2, Utah's specific privacy laws. Now, this is where things get interesting. You might think public roads mean public records, right? Well, in Utah, that is absolutely not the case. You can't just look up a traffic report online for fun. Utah enforces strict privacy laws under an act known as GRAMA, the Government Records Access and Management Act. Because these reports contain sensitive, personal identifying information, GRAMA classifies them as protected and confidential. It strictly regulates who can see them and how they're released. So, under Utah Code 41-6A-404, only a select group of people are actually legally authorized to get their hands on the unredacted file. This includes the individuals directly involved in the crash, people who suffered a loss or injury, parents of involved minors, or authorized agents like your lawyer or your insurance company. Notably, general witnesses to the accident, they're completely excluded from this list. Okay, Section 3, step-by-step retrieval process. Let's figure out exactly how to get your hands on this artifact. By following these 4 straightforward steps, you can successfully navigate the bureaucratic maze from start to finish. First, you're going to gather your basic info, the date, the location, and that case number the officer hopefully handed you. Second, you have to identify the correct investigating agency. Third, you submit that formal grammar request. And finally, you just pay the required administrative fee. Simple enough, right? Well, here is where we hit a major point of confusion for a lot of drivers. Knowing exactly who has your report. State highway crashes, like on the interstates and unincorporated state roads, are handled by the Utah Highway Patrol. For those, you'll submit your request online through the Department of Public Safety's Gov2A portal, or third-party sites like BuyCrash. But if your accident happened on a local street, it falls under the jurisdiction of municipal police or county sheriffs, which is a totally different ballgame. If your crash was local, you'll need to reach out directly to that specific city's department. Say, the Enoch Police Department, for example. Local agencies often have their very own specific GRAMA forms. For some of the smaller agencies, you might even have to print a form and fax it, or actually make an in-person visit to the police station with your photo ID in hand. You also need to know what to expect cost-wise, because fees vary wildly depending on which local agency processed your accident. Salt Lake City charges $10, West Jordan is $15, Ogden is up to $25, while the Utah County Sheriff charges just $5. But keep in mind, these baseline fees are usually just for the written DI-9 report. If you need accompanying data like high-resolution scene photos, 911 audio, or body cam footage, you're likely going to have to pay additional fees for each of those items. And hey, definitely be prepared to wait. The wheels of government don't always turn at lightning speed, you know?
Some agencies have really unique administrative workflows. For instance, reports from the Utah County Sheriff require formal approval from the Utah County Attorney's Office before they can be released. And that little extra step can sometimes stall your access for up to 3 weeks. All right, Section 4, utilizing your accident report, because securing it is only half the battle.
Knowing how to leverage this report is absolutely crucial. This document is your strongest weapon for proving liability. See, Utah is a no-fault state for car accidents, which means you generally seek compensation from your own insurance first. But if your medical costs exceed a certain threshold, you can pursue the at-fault driver, but only if you are determined to be less than 50% at fault. The officer's notes on citations, speeding, or running a red light in this report are absolutely critical for proving that fault and backing up your claims. Moving into Section 5, common mistakes to avoid. Let's make sure you don't fall into the traps that delay justice and hold up your compensation. A massive pitfall here is just assuming the insurance company will handle it for you and everything will be totally fine. Getting your own copy ensures you know exactly what the police wrote down. You need to review it yourself to confirm the facts are completely accurate. If an officer made a mistake in their diagram or their notes, you need to know about it immediately so you can protect your rights. You also really want to avoid basic logistical errors. Calling the highway patrol for an accident that happened right in the middle of a downtown Salt Lake City intersection, that's just going to waste your time. You have to contact the right jurisdiction. Also, keep in mind that simply asking for the report isn't enough. Filing that formal GRAMA request is a strict legal requirement to get these protected records released. And finally, Section 6, resources and legal disclaimer. Look, if this whole process feels overwhelming, especially if you're trying to recover from injuries, please remember you don't have to do this alone. Online portals like BuyCrash and GovQA can streamline the digital side for state reports. Plus, licensed personal injury attorneys do this every single day. They know exactly how to file GRAMA requests, ring records custodians, and gather all that accompanying data like photos and videos, so you can just focus on recovering. Now, please note that this explainer is strictly meant to guide and inform. It definitely does not replace professional legal or insurance advice. State statutes, local agency procedures, and those fee schedules we talked about, they change frequently. So always verify the current requirements and costs directly with the relevant Utah authorities or a qualified legal professional. So, with the map to navigate Utah's bureaucracy right in your hands, you know the rules of the realm. From GRAMA requests to jurisdictional boundaries, don't leave your future to chance. That accident report is the absolute foundation of your recovery process. So, what steps will you take today to secure this crucial piece of your puzzle? Go get your report, protect your rights, and thanks so much for joining us on this explainer.